First of all, I want to thank our colleagues in the regional group for bringing forward this motion, and I think it's great when we have the opportunity to discuss all of the issues around autism. Back in 2019, some people may be aware, they were in the chamber at that time too, that we brought forward a motion that got unanimous support for an autism strategy, and it was to firstly set up a committee so that you could have the consultation with the sector and with the various relevant groups. I think that's really, really important. I don't think that can be underestimated, because until you actually start talking to people and talk about their lived experiences and families' experiences and the advocacy groups, you really, you learn so much from that, and so many parents have to battle. And I know the point was well made that it's not just children, but I suppose as the children's spokesperson as well, I kind of tend to focus my comments on areas affecting children. And we all know so many stories of people who, either the assessment, and I do accept and acknowledge, and have done so before, in relation to there has been improvements maybe in certain areas in the assessment process, but I suppose there is still those issues around the actual therapies, access to the therapies, when you get your assessment, occupational therapy, physical therapy, physiotherapy, speech and language, and it depends, and every person is different. Some children might need all three therapies, some need one, some need more support than others, and it's just really important that we actually do start addressing these issues, and we do start putting the resources in place so that children can see an occupational therapist without a big delay. And we all know, and it's said time and time again, about early intervention. I want to briefly mention Dr. Niall Muldoon and the report that he did, and I know, Minister, you were into the Children's Committee in relation to that report as well, and how just, I suppose, how he really drew into stark contrast the situation that people with autism are living with. Because sometimes you get through the one battle, which is the diagnosis, then you get through maybe the battle of the therapies, then it comes to school. Can you get a class? And I think as well we need to talk a little bit about language. I don't think we should be referring to ASD units, and I know people don't necessarily mean any harm by that, but they're ASD classes. And actually, I know some advocacy groups would say that it should be referred to as ASC, Autism Spectrum Condition, and not disorder. And I do think we need to start looking at the language that we use and ensure that it is correct. But then once you get into school, potentially, have you got school transport? And there's just so many battles. And I wanted to also raise the issue of the lack of preschool places for anybody with an ASC condition. That there is, for example, in Kilkenny, we have one preschool, and that's it. And it's fantastic if you can get into it. But if you don't, and the difference that can make to somebody starting into school, whether they're in an ASC class or whether they might have the resources of a special needs assistant, but it does make a massive difference. I would have been supportive of the strategy as well when you announced it, and I really think the consultation part, that is part of the reason I was so supportive of it, because I think in general we have a serious lack of consultation in all departments in this chamber, and it is important that we actually have that. But I suppose, time is ticking. Like when I raised that in 2019, it had already been raised by several deputies, several parties. We'd had several motions, and here we are, 2021. You're talking there maybe about another year. Like when, kids and children can't wait. If you're maybe starting into school, if you're already in school, if you're coming to the end of your primary school, the amount of parents that I know as well, when their children are in primary school, that then start panicking about secondary school because the supports are less in secondary school than they are in primary, if you even get supports in primary. And then there's the whole situation about what does your diagnosis say? It has to specifically say certain things in order to get supports, and you're panicking about junior cert and leaving cert and what supports are going to be there for your child. So, we need to really kind of stop all of the chaos around it and actually start putting the resources into it. And I know that you're well-intentioned, Minister, in fairness, and I know that you engage always with these debates and with the committee as well, but I do think we do need to see the resources, and I hope these debates are helpful in the sense of making because I know it's not fully transferred into the Department of Children yet either. So whoever is holding the purse strings, for them to realise they need to invest and they need to ensure that, you know, therapies can be accessed, preschool places can be accessed, class and transport to school as well. Thanks, Last Controller.
Deputy Mairead Farrell.